It doesn't mean that I am giving myself space or excuses or anything, but it's a recognition of maybe I just heard something and I tried to adapt it to my character or to my personality and take on it, kind of like children do when they do that mimic, thing, versus like, do I actually really understand what this means?
Yes.
Do I actually really understand how to even carry this characteristic? Because I know of it and I've read of it and I know how my father feels about it. But what does that look like in my life?
Right. How do I actually apply that and live it out?
Exactly. And we get sometimes very wrapped up in that behavior modification. I know I do. I can get and I found that it stems from a former spirit of perfectionism, right? Because you want to strive to be perfect. And so for me, if I'm not careful, I can fall back into a form of that where I'm just modifying my behavior to hit the mark.
And then that even makes me think it comes into question of that true intent behind it.
Yeah.
Am I just doing it because I know to do it, or do I really have the heart for this?
Right.
Or am I doing this in a if a manipulative kind of way, like in effort to say like, okay, if I do this, then it'll get me this, or he'll do that, and it's like, or no.
Right.
It's the Philly Peach Podcast. It's the Philly Peach Podcast. Hey, it's the Philly Peach Podcast. Last time, it's the Philly Peach Podcast. Period. I am so excited. Okay, y'all don't understand, but I'm sure y'all can see it, and it's just translating through the camera. And you probably even hear the joy on the microphone if you're just listening to the podcast right now. But welcome to the Philly Peach Podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome back. If you've been here before, I am your host, the Philly Peach herself, Jasmine. And I have today with me my girl, Miranda, okay? And Miranda and I met now almost a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, almost a year ago. And Miranda has been my go-to good time girl. Okay, whenever I'm trying to go out, whenever we trying to, I don't know nobody else to go, or it's somewhere I don't want to go by myself, because I've been going places by myself too. But when I don't want to go by myself and I just need at least one other person to ride with me, I'll be like, Miranda, where you at, girl? What you doing? You want to go here? I saw this thing. I saw this event coming. Are you trying to go? And she's like, yes, sis, let's go.
We're going.
She's the only person who could call me sis and I not be offended, because I feel like it's so belittling when most women say it. But she's the only person who calls me sis, and I absolutely
just rolls off the tongue. Just rolls.
She's the only one. But Miranda, please share with everyone where you from, what you do, before we get into today's conversation, as we continue the conversation on the power and the process to promise.
So, hey, my name is Miranda. I am from Georgia, so I am a peach. Okay. I am a personal trainer and an entrepreneur. I have my own fitness business, FitJourney, and so I partner with different people. I train one-on-one, but I also do corporate and business settings as well.
Yeah.
So the main thing is I just try to help people realize like our bodies are a temple, and how to steward over that in the physical world as much as we do the spiritual world.
Yeah.
That
is so important.
Yeah.
And it's like that has begun to really change my perspective of things, like, and continuing, in our relationship with God. And just as I progressively grow, I'm trying not to speak for we, but as I progressively grow, understanding my body as a temple, I don't eat certain stuff anymore. Then there are days where I'm like, all right, Lord, forgive me, because I just really want this cookie. Like, certain stuff. But I'm so much more mindful of it. I will say that, like, overall, I am so much more mindful of the things I eat. Like, I'll be in the store getting ready to check out, and I'm like, I really want the bag of chips, but I know Holy Spirit probably wouldn't appreciate me eating a bag of chips right now, and then certain stuff that I used to love that I just don't even have a taste for anymore. And so I'm just like, wow, God, like, you really changed my appetite. That's how I felt about alcohol, because I was like, Lord, I want to drink.
Right.
Like I do. I liked having cocktails. I gotta say past tense now.
Right.
I ain't had one in a while. And I used to really like it.
Right.
And for a period of time, I was like, and I don't know, maybe I'm still mourning just a little bit. Because it's just like, I don't even, but I have no desire for it. Like I say all this just in what I thought of it. You know? And it wasn't even like I was a heavy drinker or anything like that, but I enjoyed like a cute little cocktail when I went out, or had dinner. Me and my best friend, we loved going to Cheesecake Factory, and they had this little peach Bellini thing. I used to love to get that. Like, so it was just like, it was just a little thing.
Just a little thing.
Amaretto sour was my favorite. And then it was just like, I went to go buy me a bottle of this Corona one time. And I got ready to have me a drink. And it was just like, you don't even want that.
Right.
You don't want that.
Right. Yep. You find yourself wasting money like that. You could have said that before. Before I bought it. Before I bought it.
And see, here's the thing. So I can't even put that on the Lord. Because it was just like, no, you don't need to go in there.
Okay.
And it was like, no, I'm
okay.
I'm okay.
We're all right.
I'm okay. And it's like, no.
Right.
So yeah. And so then me and my best friend, we went to the Cheesecake Factory, and I ordered the amaretto sour. I was mad I ordered it because I was like, now I got to pay for this, and I don't even want it.
That happened to me.
I ain't even want it.
So many. I'm like, okay, so you really mean we're not? Oh, okay.
So you mean like
I thought you just meant last time. You meant
just that one time.
That
one. Like, no.
Okay, cool.
Your mind, remember?
Yeah.
So we not
but when you think about it, it's like when you think about who lives, who dwells within you, it makes you think about your body different. It's like, would you want to walk up in somebody's house and it look all any type of way? And it's like, that's the same mindset.
Unless you walk up in that house and you be like, I ain't coming back.
Right. You're like,
hey, y'all.
Hey, you can sit down now.
I'm all right. I'll stand right
here. Yeah. And I thought about that. Like, I was in a devotion one time. I was just cracking up laughing. I was like, this is really funny. Like, to think that, now we know the Lord is not like that.
Sure.
But to think that, like, you sent me in this one? Like, in this, you sure you wanted me to go in this side? So it just makes you think about like what you're putting in your body, how you're stewarding over your body, and mindset too, as well, right? It's so much freedom that you can also get as well when you take on that perspective, because you realize I'm not bound to eating a certain way. Yeah. I'm not bound to eating this food. I don't have to be bound to these things. And I can enjoy learning how to take care of my body without the restrictions, because sometimes we can swing to either side very hard, very extreme, right? We can be the super healthy person and feel like we got to restrict and all this stuff, which is not necessary. And we don't have to be the loose person just eating anything and everything.
Whatever,
but there is a happy medium when you allow the Lord to teach you about your body, and you take the journey on that in your fitness. You take the journey to learn, this is how my body responds to this is how my body responds to that. This is what the Lord said.
It's so funny you say that, because I realized how my body responds to bread.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang. Yeah. And I love me some bread. Yeah. Bread and cheese, baby.
Cheryl.
You got me.
Yep.
Bread and cheese, okay? And what's that? Red Lobster, they got Cheddar Bay biscuits, the bread and the cheese. Perfect
combination. Okay.
It gets me every time.
It does.
But I realized over a period of time, I was eating like snacks and stuff, because I was a very heavy snacker. I don't snack as much as I used to, but I kept snacks in my desk at work.
Yeah.
I kept snacks in my bag. And I keep a snack at home, but I used to be snacking all day, every day. And I would neglect having a whole meal sometimes because I just need
you want to go,
just
you got to get in and out. Yeah.
Progressively, he got me out of fast food. Like, I was to the point where I was like, okay, all right, I'll just have fries.
Yeah.
And I won't get anything else. I'm gonna just have fries.
Yeah.
And then I started eating it again, and then it was just like, so now none of it. Yeah. Like, absolutely none of it. Not just the fry, none of it. Have none of it. Right. And I'm like, okay, so you need to just go straight home.
Right.
Buy them groceries, make your lunch, bring it to work, or don't eat. Like, you have to choose.
Yeah,
but
and
you
that's
cannot
where meal
have
prep
the fast
starts
food.
Coming important and more important, because it's like, if you like me, after I get done with the workout, or when I say I'm hungry, I got about like 10 minutes to get something in front of me. And that's where poor decisions typically come in. That's where it's like, I'm gonna just pick up something real quick. Yeah. And it's not the best option because you hungry already, right? So that's where meal prep, for me, that's where it really comes in. It's not really the fact of, it is healthy eating, but it's also the fact of, I know me. I know that I need to have that food readily available because if I have to sit and cook and do all of this, I'm gonna opt to go swipe my card somewhere, and it might not be the best place.
Right.
It might not be the best.
Quick the
place.
rest of give me a Chick-fil-A waffle fry.
Listen.
Just let me get a large fry with a side of honey mustard.
And I'm good. And I can make it home then.
But see, the thing is, what I would get into, and I was saying this before on another, is that God is really dealing with me when it comes to my discipline.
Yeah.
And so discipline, consistency, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
You're not moving from this point right here until you get this together. Yeah. You need to get this. And so it's sometimes he will really, he snatch you up. That's that disciplined father, and I'm not playing.
Right.
And you need to get this right because I will not tolerate this any further than this point, because now you're at a different maturity level and you understand this and you know not to, So that's where it's at for us in my discipline and consistency. And so even with, like I said, with the fast food, at first I was still fine to still go and just be like, all right, I'm gonna get a fry. And I was good doing just the fry, but then it got to a point where it's like, oh, I'm running out real quick for lunch. Let me just go to Wendy's. I'm running out real quick for lunch. I'm gonna just go to Chick-fil-A, But then it's like I went from the fry and I was like, all right, let me get a spicy nugget.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna get a fry. Let me get that milkshake. I'm gonna get a fry. Oh, let me get that cookie crumble parfait. Like I'm asking for more than just that fry. And he's like, give me all of it.
Because like a doorway, like you open the door, like, I'm here.
Come on, the refrigerator door.
Because
it ain't even got to be a demonic door all the time.
It could just the refrigerator door.
And then it's like, I'm gonna just go in here. I'm gonna grab
the cabinet door.
Okay, the pantry door.
The pantry door. The door. All the snacks. Wherever you put your stuff at, your nightstand. Because some people, it's right there.
Okay,
the pillow under your bed. Wherever you hide your snacks at, okay? Wherever they at.
It's you snacking. You got it somewhere.
It's in there, okay? And it's a slippery slope.
Yes.
But it's a journey too, and that's the beautiful thing, especially when you incorporate that discipline also into your fitness journey. People like to do an overhaul. They like to go like from 0 to 100, and you will overwhelm yourself. I tell all of my clients, they want to jump in. I want a nutrition. I want the fitness plan. I want this. I want that. No, start off here. Then we'll add on along the way. And I advise everyone to do that. Don't try to start, you're going to clear out your whole kitchen, or you don't clear out your whole kitchen, but you're going to go buy a whole new food that you don't even regularly eat. And then you wasting food, because after week number 1 or even day 3, you aren't really trying to eat that no more because it's not, so give yourself grace. Not to say that you can't do that and not to say that you don't need to put forth effort, but you also have to be realistic. And sometimes when it comes to this fitness journey, we are not realistic. We see what we see on Instagram, or our favorite influencer is doing, or whatever it is, and we want to do what they're doing. And it's like, you don't know how long it took them to get there.
Yep.
And you're not there. I'm not there. My favorite people, some other people's favorite people. I mean, I've been in the fitness industry for a long time, and I can confidently say I'm still not there. So it's about like being realistic with where you're at, what works for you, what are your goals, and then go from there.
Just building on it versus trying to just do
overhaul.
Everything.
It's not realistic.
It's the same way in, I was talking about this with another couple of ladies about the fact that we do that even in our faith, in our faith with God. And it's like, we learn something or we understand something. And it's like, okay, now I need to add that to what I do. And it's like, or that it's not, you just learned that. Okay, that was just for you to learn. I'm not calling you to do that right now.
Exactly.
And then there are other things that we be like, I ain't gonna worry about that. And he's like, no, I need you to get on that ASAP, and sometimes it's like we take the overload of information that we learn or that we gain, and we start gleaning, and you learning everything, you want to do everything, and it's like, okay, I ain't never fasted before. I'm gonna fast for 7 days, no water, and it's like,
and then you look like SpongeBob.
You might should start with just 3,
right?
Okay, because you don't know what you about to get yourself into.
All right,
you're gonna be sick. So it's just like realizing that certain things that just take time.
Yeah.
And God calls us to build up your faith. It's not
Ex-
just you. He's just bringing everything to you, like I think of the milk to meat kind of thing. And even like I was saying, as far as how he disciplines me now is not how he, graced me before, So where I might have had a little wiggle room and he's like, yeah, no, cut that off. And I mean, cut it off like now. Whereas before it was just like, all right, I just had this like unction of maybe I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
But then I might dabble just a little bit longer, and he's just like, "Yeah, no,
we're done."
we're done.
Yeah, I said we're done.
We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Actually, so let's go.
You're done. Actually, that's what I said. Yeah, we're just done. Yeah, yes. No, but it is exactly like that. It's funny. I just had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine. I was telling her exactly that. I was like, I feel like I've gotten to a place where I have overwhelmed myself because of so much knowledge or wisdom coming in. And you love that, but naively sometimes we take it on and we're like, oh, God has changed us. But sometimes it's a form of behavior modification that we take on, where it's like we hear something and because we know it's truth and we want to hit the mark as believers and as daughters of Christ, we want to hit the mark. We want to please him. We automatically jump to that in place. And that is not necessarily where we're at, And I find that even in my own life, it's just like, I could have hit the mark or be, further along in one area of my life, but that doesn't mean in this area I'm there. And I don't have to rush that because he's taken me piece by piece. It's not just like a complete overhaul. It's that piece by piece. And I can be okay with saying, I may be here in one area, but over here I'm still learning, and it doesn't mean that I am giving myself space or excuses or anything, but it's a recognition of maybe I just heard something and I tried to adapt it to my character or to my personality and take on it, kind of like children do when they do that mimic, thing, versus like, do I actually really understand what this means?
Yes.
Do I actually really understand how to even carry this characteristic? Because I know of it and I've read of it and I know how my father feels about it. But what does that look like in my life?
Right. How do I actually apply that and live it out?
Exactly. And we get sometimes very wrapped up in that behavior modification. I know I do. I can get and I found that it stems from a former spirit of perfectionism, right? Because you want to strive to be perfect. And so for me, if I'm not careful, I can fall back into a form of that where I'm just modifying my behavior to hit the mark.
And then that even makes me think it comes into question of that true intent behind it. Am I just doing it because I know to do it, or do I really have the heart for this?
Right.
Or am I doing this in a manipulative kind of way, like in effort to say like, okay, if I do this, then it'll get me this, or he'll do that. And it's like, or no, I know when God says, I know your heart, that is what he's talking about. Which he's telling you, I know the true intent of why you're doing this. I know you don't really believe that. I know you don't really know what you're doing.
Right.
And I know you're trying to act like you know.
Right.
But I know that that's no.
Right.
And so I think that that's something that's significant to be able to get to a point of maturity to be able to say, I'm really not there, and I don't have to pretend that I'm there either. And knowing that God is okay with you not pretending that you're there if he knows that you're not there.
Yes. Yeah. That's
so I want to talk more personally about you though.
Okay.
What was, because as we've been talking about the power and process to promise, this is something that I will constantly reiterate throughout this series, is that I really wanted to speak to the heart of women who are believing God for a significant promise, whether it's concerning their career. I know many women are believing God for marriage. I know many women are believing God for children. What we are enduring as we are in the process to the fulfillment of the promise, there is still power in that. And I want women to know that we are powerful in our position as his daughter. right? So even the desire that we have for that promotion in our career, even that desire we have to be, a wife, even that desire we have to be a mother, in every single one of those aspects, you are always God's daughter.
Yeah.
And so I really want to impart to women just how powerful you are, even while you're enduring the process to the fulfillment of that promise you're believing God for. And so I want to explore the foundation of that relationship first, as we kind of, get more into detail about, what that promise is, and then how God is sustaining you through that. So what is the foundation of your relationship with him? Like, how did you, what led you to be in relationship with God?
Yeah. So I think my very first, because I was baptized when I was really, really young.
Sure.
My father's a preacher, and so I was like,
PK.
Let's go.
I've been forgetting that. You said PK.
So I was like, let's go. I'm going up there with my dad, you know? And I got baptized. And I mean, at that point, it's like, I know, but I really don't know,
sure.
And so when I was in school, college, 2016, actually. 2016, I got rebaptized.
Okay.
And I was just going through so much. It was my first year in school, first time home alone, like kind of fending for myself. And I was like, I went to school in the mindset of like, I'm gonna be a free slave. Y'all don't let me do nothing. I'm about to be out here. And I was like, quickly, no. I'm running back to the Father really quickly, And so I got into some things, and I just reached a breaking point, and I was just like, Lord, I cannot do this. And so I was like, I'm going to live for you. Like, I'm going to do my best to live for you, and I want that relationship with you. And so I got rebaptized, and I was a part of school ministry and things like that. And that's where I really started to get to know who God was in my life. And then, life goes on, and I went through school and stuff like that. And I started having anxiety and depression. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, even when you are saved, actually, most times when you do become saved and you declare that Jesus is Lord over your life, that's when it gets even harder sometimes, And so for me, that's the exact story. I started having anxiety and depression and all of that. And I went through school and I graduated. I came home, and fast forward to last year, 2023. So I know that was a long time frame, but we'll jump to 2023. That's when the Lord kind of reintroduced himself to me in a new way.
Wow.
And really captured my heart, right? Because before I was enjoying learning about him and living for him, sort of. If I'm being transparent, I was sort of living for him, but I knew that that's what I wanted. I just didn't really know what that was going to look like, right? And then in 2023 is when the Lord really captured my heart, and he introduced himself to me as my Father, right? Rather than just God in heaven, the Lord. It was like, no, I'm your Abba Father, right? And it was crazy. I was watching this movie called The Princess Cut on, I think it's Prime TV or Pureflix. And
Pureflix, let me just say, I really thought Pureflix was gonna be whack,
and it's not.
And they're not.
They get to you.
Like, I legit be clicking on. I'm like, let me see how corny this is, and it'd be like, this is really actually good. Like, y'all better than Hallmark, for real.
No, for real.
Like,
no, for real.
Because even their little love story ones are not as bad as Hallmark.
Yeah.
Lord knows, Hallmark. God bless them.
Rinse and repeat, okay?
No, but for real, Pureflix, be on good. One. And I love me some, what's her name? Karen Abercrombie?
Yes.
That's my girl now. I be looking for all of her stuff. I be like, I know this show gonna be.
It's gonna be good.
But then when I see her, I be like, all right, I know I can count on Miss Karen.
She gonna show out.
She gonna do the thing. So it's always a really good storyline or some kind of lesson or something. Like, Pureflix is definitely decent. It's decent.
Yeah.
Like, they're not cheesy like some Christian movies can be.
And
it's like,
and they have a good message too.
There was one I watched, I'll never forget. And as soon as I watched it for maybe all of 10 minutes, And I was like, maybe it's because I was tired, because I usually put it on like when I'm getting ready to go to bed or something. Girl, no. I went back to try to watch it again, and it was like, okay, you've officially made the mark.
Yeah.
Because everybody else on here done proved me wrong.
Right.
Y'all was the first to prove me right, because y'all should have not.
It's not.
Y'all should have not.
Yeah.
What's his name? Urkel was in it. Jaleel White. And I was like, why y'all do this? Why did y'all do this?
Saved it.
We could. No, y'all had to be the ones to go and mess up. Like, Pureflix was on a good little streak till I came and hit up with y'all. And y'all just had to come in. Yep. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. I want you to continue. But I just had to say that because Pureflix is low.
Listen, I advise.
They're good.
Okay, they have some good movies in there. But yeah, I was watching Pureflix, and it was just one scene in one of the movies, and the daughter and the father was having a moment, and he apologized to her and was just like, you know, I am the one that does this for you, and I'm the one that does this for you, and I messed up because I wasn't there for you in this way, and I didn't do this. And I have a great relationship with my earthly father, but some of the things that he was saying on the movie were things that I also wanted to hear from my earthly father. Wow. But in that moment, I felt like that was God literally speaking to me and was just saying, I got you. I'm going to protect you. Like, I'm going to be here, because I didn't have that trust, right? I really didn't have that trust in, like, okay, God is going to.
And how powerful is that?
And I was just like, ooh. And from that moment forward, I was just like, I am in love with God. Like, I am in love with my father. Like that, even now I'm sitting here getting chills, because that was the moment that I was just like, okay. Yeah, okay. And so, yeah, that moment changed that was just last year, and I've been in a relationship and known who God was for years, right. But that moment, it kind of changed the game, and it deepened it. Yeah. It definitely deepened our intimacy, and it was just a longing to want to be with him in devotional time, wanting to read, wanting to hear from him, wanting to be used by him. Like, whatever you want, like, I trust you, you know, like, I could not confidently say that before, because I just like, I don't know what that was like.
I don't know what you're going to try to use.
I don't think we match up, you know, but then to say that, like, you trust the Lord, like you trust your father, and you truly feel that, you know, it's a different level. So yeah. Last year, man.
That's amazing. Like, I love that. Like, that's why I said, like, how powerful is that? Like, I felt that as you said it, just not the fact that you had your earthly father, and then in that moment, it was still God giving you that special encounter with him to say that I am your father. And this is how I love you. This is how I serve you. This is how I like. That is so powerful and beautiful, you know. And I always say, my relationship with God is the most beautiful challenge of my life, right. Because we have so many amazing and incredible moments, but then we have so many challenging moments. Right. But as I continue to grow through it, it makes me love him more and more. It deepens my love for him more and more. It expands and increases my desire for him more and more. I had got to a point last year, you know, moving out to Georgia. I was about to say moving out to LA. God forbid. Jesus, please don't. I don't want to live in LA. I don't ever want to. Moving out to Atlanta, I had so many moments. Like, I honestly, I cried every month.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, wow.
I cried about something every month that I was here. And I could remember one day I got home from work and I was like, I just want my dad. I don't want to do nothing else. I don't want to talk to nobody else. Because, you know, sometimes we'll be like, let me just call somebody I could talk to real quick. I don't want to call nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody else. I just want my dad. And that is it. And so I could remember I went in my room and I just sat on the floor and I played like just the instrumental, and I had written out these index cards of some scriptures, and I sat there and I just read through those scriptures and let the music play, and that's all I did. I didn't even read them out loud. I just sat there and read them just to take that moment, because I was like, this is all that I need right now.
Yeah.
Lord, I just need you, you know? And so it's having those types of moments that just keep me, you know, that keep me wanting more, and that keep me even in the times when I feel so challenged and I'm like, God, why is this happening? What is happening? What is going on? This isn't how I wanted this to be. This isn't what I wanted my life to look like. Like what, like how, like, so when you get to those moments for yourself, how has your relationship with him sustained you?
So, for me, honestly, and I know this gonna sound so churchy, but it is remembering what he's brought me through, right? I will literally stop and just choose gratitude, honestly. When I feel myself getting into that space, and it doesn't diminish the storm around me, but his word says that we have the authority to command our soul, command our thoughts to bless the Lord, right? And so in those moments where I feel like in my mind the storm is trying to be in my mind, right, and take me down that like doom gloom path, I will sit there and be like, absolutely not. Even though it looks like this around me, I'm still going to choose to bless the Lord, even in my thoughts. I'm still going to choose to bless the Lord. It does not diminish how I feel in this season. But what I do know is that my mind is where the enemy likes to play. And if I let that go, that's just further territory that I've given to him that I will not, right? And so that's where I start at one. And then I honestly, I just get real with God. Right? I just get real with him. Like, this is not cool. Like, I don't know what's going on, and I need you to take this. And like, I'll be transparent. Like 2 weeks ago, I just took a mental day, and I was just like, I need to just sit with my Father, and I'm not going to work. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to talk. I just want a day to sit and to be. And I find, especially for someone like me who battle with daily anxiety, daily depression, that taking that day, I was able to pop up the next day and I was fine. You know, even later on that day, I was fine, you know. And so that's what helps me when I get into those moments, because I trust God. Those moments don't take me out like they used to. Those seasons, those times of the year don't take me out like they used to. Before, I would be out because I'm like, oh man, the world's going down. But now I remember, like, wait a minute, like everything is going to work out for my good. Everything, even this stink moment right now, is gonna work out for me, you know. And so I choose to make my mind dwell on that rather than all the other negative thoughts that we can sometimes conjure up in our minds that aren't ever really true. Sometimes, you know, I can make 100 different narratives and they're all negative, and then I may have one positive one. But I choose now to just believe that this may suck, but there's a reason why this is happening. And I believe that. And I will literally say that to myself over and over and over again in those moments until I fully believe it, until my body believes it, you know, until my whole being believes it. But I will choose to sit there and say that this may be a terrible time right now, but it's a reason for it. And I truly believe that because I trust God. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That helped me.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I honestly, I get so consumed in my thoughts and how I feel, just because it's like so much going on, so much at one time, and I'm like, I cannot control it all. You know, and it's like I have to trust him. And so it's just like that helped me, and just hearing you say how I just keep saying it, keep saying it until I know my whole being believes what I am saying. and sometimes we have to press through. And like, that is my thing now, is like, I'm going to fight.
Yeah.
I know what this feels like. I know the lie that is just resonating in my mind right now, but I know that it's a lie. I'm fighting this. I'm not accepting this.
Yeah.
And even when I'm in that moment of, despair and feeling down and just like, I can't, this is hard, or maybe it's this and maybe it's that. And it's like, no, I refuse to withdraw from this fight. I have been in fight for this. I have been praying for this. I have been waiting for this. I'm believing you for it. And not only in all the things that I am doing, but this is who you are.
Yeah.
And that's what like will bring me back. Most of the time in those days, or on those days, in those moments, is like, you are.
Right.
This ain't even about me.
Right.
You said, and this is who you are. You are the God of the universe.
Yeah.
You are God Almighty. You're the King of glory. You are, the God of the angel armies. You command, like, they fight for me.
Right.
You told me that this was mine to have. And the only reason why the enemy gets it is because I let it go.
Exactly.
I refuse to give up on this. I'm not letting go of this. I'm going to ask you again, and I'm going to ask you, believing that you're going to do it, even though I feel like this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I got real hyped just now.
No, that's okay.
It be like that.
It does.
And it's
like, but that's what fighting looks like, though, right?
Exactly.
That's what fighting looks like.
And I think sometimes people miss out on things because it's like, you know what? Fine.
Yeah.
And I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, we all can understand that moment of just being like, you know what?
But then even to think too, and I just heard my sister say this past week, but God's word cannot fail.
Yes.
It will never, ever return void. So if he promised it and he said it out of his mouth, even if it looks like it's not coming to pass, what makes us think that it will not come to pass?
Here's what just hit me. Okay.
Come on, Revelation.
Because if the word fails, then that means Jesus failed.
Come on.
And he already won.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So
then it really just hit me, like, the word, because he is the word. So if God's word fails, then that means that would have to mean that Jesus failed.
Right.
But Jesus does not fail. He has already won.
Exactly.
If he is the word and I believe the word.
Yep.
And it's like, sometimes I think I realize to make that connection with certain things.
Yeah.
And in that aspect of believing, like, and I say sometimes, like, all right, when I don't have the strength to get out the words, I'm just going to say Jesus a million times, as many times as I can. I'm just going to call on Jesus' name. Yeah. And I know he's going to hear me. And I'm just going to believe that he will move, he will act, he will do.
Yeah.
And just because, like, Lord, I don't have what's left, but I know that you are everything I need. I don't have any other words. I don't know what else to say, but Jesus, I'm asking you. Jesus, help me. Jesus, Jesus. Right. That is the name above all names.
Come on.
Right?
Come on.
And so it's like, even in that, if I believe, if I can go down to the word, if I can go to that scripture and repeat it, okay? Faithful is he who has called us, who also will do it. Yeah. But in the moment, that scripture just don't come to my mind because of how I'm overwhelmed with my emotions. So I'm not tapped in or connected really to lean into the Holy Spirit to bring it to my remembrance. All I know to say is Jesus.
That's it. That's it.
But I can say, and if I'm not in the place where for whatever reason, I'm struggling to believe that he is faithful and he will do it, but I'm going to say again, he is faithful and he will do it. Until faithful is he who, until I believe this thing, until I see this thing, until it is done, I'm going to say it until I see it. Why? Because he's my Father. And when he speaks, he sees what he says.
That's it.
When he spoke them lights, when he spoke the moon and the stars, and when he spoke the vegetation, when he spoke everything he said, when he said it,
it's got to come to pass.
It happened.
Yeah.
When he said it, it already was done.
Yeah.
So even in the moment where I'm like, this day, this feeling, this moment, whatever it is, it's weighing on me.
Yeah.
but I'm not going to lean into that. I'm choosing to lean into you, Lord. You're a faithful Father. You're a good Father. You're merciful. I know that you love me. I know that you're with me. I know you're keeping me. You don't lie. You can't lie.
Cannot lie.
There's nothing too hard for you. You cannot lie. All these things, I have to go back to who he is and not where I'm at or what I'm doing because I'm faulty. I am unreliable. I am not necessarily faithful without him. I cannot have faith without him.
That's right.
So when I don't have enough of the words to just encourage myself, I go back to, well, who is he? Because who he is what's going to sustain me. Who he is what brings me through all of this. Right. Who he is does not change. He is all of who he is all of the time.
Yeah.
My God. So,
good.
God.
That's good.
So,
That's good. That's good. It changes. Like when you can grasp on to even just like a piece of that in the midst of your storm.
Jesus.
It changes how you fight in the storm.
Yes.
Right? You take back so much power from the enemy because he's trying to swirl it up even more. But if you just stand there like, okay, I see you, but I'm okay.
And he only has access to either what has already happened.
Yeah.
To just constantly reuse that, bring it up, and make you remember and remind you of all that. Well, remember before this was like this. Remember this happened. Remember
That's
it was
why
like that.
Identity is so important. Identity is so important. Whose you are, not who you are. That's dealing with you, right? Whose you are, though. If I know my father is the roaring lion,
come on,
I'm gonna stand in front of you just like this. And you could be talking to me all types of ways, and I'm unfazed because at the end of the day, you got to deal with him, not me. That's who you got to deal with.
My daddy don't.
He don't play about me. He don't play about me. He don't play about me. And if you, you can go ahead, sure, do your best shot. Not me. He the one that fights for me. I tell people that all the time, like, yeah, you ain't got to deal with me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way, and I'm sorry for anything but what you're coming up against, it's not me. You're not fighting me.
Right.
So it makes you take a different power, right? You walk different.
Yes.
Like I know I walk different because I'm like, what can y'all do? What can you do? My feelings are the only thing, and I can choose to fall into that or not. When you realize how much power you have and the authority you have, even in the midst of a storm, and that's what I didn't have before when I was dealing with anxiety and depression. I didn't recognize how much power I had. And I've been through so much, even still, right? But recognizing whose I was and who is actually fighting for me, I'm not fazed. Oh, dang, my pockets, I'm broke. Bills due. All right, Lord, I'm trusting you. Even in the midst of this, I'm trusting you.
Right.
Even in the midst of it, because I know who I am. And I know, oh, they're threatening to fire me, or, oh, I'm losing this opportunity. But I'm still standing on whose I am in the midst of it.
Right.
So it make you puff your chest out a little bit more. You sit up a little bit straighter in spaces, because it's just like, there is nothing that y'all can do. If I was called here to this space,
right,
I can't leave until he tells me to leave. And that's just that. Yeah.
See, that is the power in the process.
Yeah.
That is the power. Because even though I'm going through this, or I'm dealing with this, or that's a threat to whatever it is, my power is in knowing that I'm his. And knowing that he's fighting for me.
Yes.
Yes. Miranda, thank you so much. This has been so good.
So good.
Time goes by so fast. I will definitely have to have you back, because this has been good. I thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Philly Peach Podcast. As I always say, remember, pray, prepare, pursue, persist, and you will prosper. Pray about everything. Don't worry about anything. Prepare for what you prayed for. Pursue it, Be persistent in your pursuit and you will prosper. All right. Until the next episode, I am your host, Jasmine, and I'll see y'all next time.